If kids are listening, kids, please go check out something else.
Yeah, another episode. Maybe just a different episode
Listen
or
to your parents.
parents' discretion on this. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to Scary Mystery Surprise.
Where we talk about scary things that surprised us around the internet.
I'm Edwin.
And I'm Michelle. Happy Valentine's Day, Edwin.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It's officially Valentine's Day. And it's our Valentine's Day special. I think that's what this is, technically, right?
Did you know this is true in Mexico and Spanish-speaking countries? The translation is of love and friendship.
I like that. The celebration of platonic love is always amazing. You know, It's always very sweet and necessary and underappreciated in our society.
Agreed.
But that being said, we're talking about hot demon sex today on Scary Mystery Surprise.
Do-do-do-do.
If you're alone on Valentine's Day, look, I'm single. There's nothing wrong with it. But hey, you know what? If you're alone on Valentine's Day and that's bothering you, why not summon a sex demon?
Right?
Because, I mean, sex demons have been around since the dawn of folklore. They can be found in all cultures all around the world. India has the Yakshini. Arabia has the Quarina. Native Americans have the deer woman. China has the Mogwai. Greece has the Lamia. It's impossible to know which of these legends came first, because they most likely all developed separately around the same time. But I'm going to begin where it all started in Western culture. So we're going to go way back.
Like time machine back?
Oh, yeah, time machine. We're getting in that time machine. You know, we're going so far back. We're going Adam and Eve back.
Oh, what? Okay, to the beginning of...
We're going back to the beginning. So to the time machine. Okay, here we are in the Garden of Eden. It's nice, right?
Yeah, it looks pretty nice.
Yeah. Did you know Adam had a first wife named Lilith?
What? Are you serious?
That's for real.
No idea. I had zero idea.
So anyway, the myth about her is quite fascinating. And you can find her story in ancient Jewish texts and ancient Sumerian texts.
Wow.
She's around. So like this is legit. But her story varies depending on like what you're reading, and it's very dense. So like in the Sumerian culture, she's literally the goddess of fertility and witchcraft. She has lions by her side. Her tears bring life, and her kiss brings death.
Dangerous.
I know, it's pretty cool. And Lilith has had like an evolution throughout recent times where she's gone from like evil incarnate to like feminist icon and becoming like a symbol of fighting the patriarchy. And she's still the main goddess of witchcraft.
I was thinking Xena, and then you said the patriarchy, and then I thought Barbie.
Just like Xena.
I wonder what... Okay, I want to hear this. Okay.
When God created the first man in the world from earth and dust, we know him as Adam. Then he declared it wasn't good for Adam to be alone, and created the first woman, also from earth and dust. You would think everything would be perfect, but it wasn't the case. Adam and Lilith started to argue, and the conflict arose because they couldn't decide who would be on top during sexual intercourse. And I just want everyone to know, Edwin and I are sitting in the bushes hiding and watching all of this. Because, you know, like, you gotta, like, use all the benefits of the time machine. Lilith said, "I will never lie beneath you." And he replied, "I won't lie beneath you either, but I will be on top of you, and it is destined for you to be beneath me, and I above you." Lilith argued because they were equal, since they were both made of dust and earth. Moral of the story, they couldn't agree, and Lilith just decided to fly away and leave Adam.
What? Okay.
I mean, look, we're not dealing with real physics here. She said the name of God and flew away. So I'm assuming she was like, God. Just slapped her.
Imagine if we could do that. Like,
And just
an
take
argument's
off.
coming. Just, I'm out.
So, of course, Adam's upset, right? So they're having a battle of wills. So he goes and he's offended and he tattles to God. Sometimes Adam seems like a dweeb. I mean, was he ever cool?
I mean, in the little drawings I would see in elementary school with him wearing the bushes for underwear, the little leaves, he didn't look very cool.
Yeah, he doesn't seem very cool. So anyway, God, or the creator, sent 3 angels after Lilith to bring her back to the Garden of Eden. But Lilith refused to go back. And in fact, she started sleeping with Archangel Samael, who was cast out of heaven. And Lilith was condemned to become what is known now as a succubus. So she was one of the first succubus. I guess there's technically 4 original ones. And like I said, this legend is very dense. So there's like different avenues. You could be like, oh, you know, she was cursed to be barren. Oh, she was cursed to have 100 children a day. Oh, she was cursed to watch 100 of her children die every day. You know, there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but I'm doing it this way. But anyway, she became one of the first succubus. So she would creep into men's rooms at night, stealing their masculine power to create demonic children. Repeated sexual activity may have resulted in a deterioration of health, impaired mental state, or even death. And it's said that impotence is nothing more than Lilith's mischief. In folklore, the offspring of Samael and Lilith became the demonic offspring and the basis of the succubus and the incubus known today in Christian culture. She's kind of the mother of all sex demons in Western culture.
The mother of all sex demons.
Yep. And the word succubus comes from the Latin word meaning to lie down, which first appears in medieval English. Later, succubi popped up in the witch hunts. Women who tried to seduce, quote unquote, men were accused of being succubi in disguise, while women who became pregnant outside of wedlock were charged with consorting with incubus or incubi. You know, and then I wrote, pardon me while I burst into flames. An incubus is the male version of a succubus, and they just sleep with women. It's very heteronormative for some reason. In medieval Europe, the union with an incubus would result in the birth of witches, demons, or deformed human offspring. And weirdly enough, and this is a weird side note, legendary magician Merlin was said to have been fathered by an incubus.
Whoa, so they would actually have actual physical offspring.
It gets interesting, right? So in theory, demons aren't supposed to be able to procreate. Mm-hmm. So there were like a few examples where they were like, oh, the succubus and the incubus work together. The succubus takes the sperm and then gives it to the incubus, and then the incubus inseminates the woman with the stolen sperm or whatever. Like, that's how it supposedly works. But then how do you get a magical child? I don't know.
There's no like consensus. That's what sucks.
You know, we're in medieval times right now. I mean, we went from Adam and Eve straight up to medieval times. So,
that's a big jump, I think.
I know. But, you know, for Lilith, it was just like that. You know, we just went straight.
Never heard of Lilith ever. So.
Oh, she's really cool. I mean, also she's periodically in medieval times known as like the Queen of the Demons, too.
Wow.
Yeah, because she preferred having sex with demons more than Adam, which sounds fine.
They all like a bad boy. She can fix him.
Yeah, she could fix him.
I'm not mature enough for this topic.
Look, no one is. That's why you probably shouldn't summon a demon lover. Also, the fact that we almost bought whatever that demon sex doll.
Yeah.
Guys, when we were buying that doll for Edwin, you know, the haunted doll, which we should have just bought this, but there was a haunted Lord of the Rings Aragorn figure, and it was possessed by, I think, a succubus. Edwin was really excited about buying it, but we should have just done it. Also, just to note that these aren't like the attractive succubus like from pop culture. Succubus and incubuses are kind of like portrayed as really attractive in modern culture, I think. It's part of the appeal. And originally they would come off as like beautiful creatures or like beautiful people, but then inspection of their body would reveal like deformities such as bird-like claws or a serpentine tail.
Whoa.
There was also something about smell, but I'm not going to go into that.
Well, I want to know, but then I don't.
There's just something about fluids not being correct. That's all. It's fine. I'm going to leave that to the imagination. When a succubus does sleep with a man, she's always on top in honor of her mother, like paying homage to Lilith.
I'm doing this for you, mother.
I'm sucking this guy's energy for you. Also in medieval times, monks were often visited. They were always worried about visits by succubus. For example, they'd put a cross over their private parts, and then I wrote AKA peepees while they were sleeping.
For protection.
Also, if a young man smiled in his sleep, it was likely a succubus was caressing him. And it was believed that every time a devout Christian experienced an embarrassing situation at night, these demons would laugh gleefully.
That was good.
All those myths around succubi and incubi were all basically explanations for sleep paralysis and nocturnal emissions. That was the medieval language of what was going on. But for every kink out there, somebody's into it. And I'm not here to kink shame anybody. If you want to be sexed to death by a demon, there are probably worse ways to go.
This idea with ghosts and sex demons and everything started when you sent me a text about this person that married a ghost and was trying to divorce a ghost.
Oh, yeah.
And I went down this rabbit hole of finding out so many things. Michelle, I downloaded an ebook.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, on this type of thing. Actually, a lot of this info that I got today was from this book. It was called 19 True Incubus Short Stories. I went through some of the articles of reference. I went through some other articles. There were so many things. So some of these stories that I read, they seem very out there, and I remember hearing some of these things before, and I never paid any attention to them at all. I just thought they were too, like, oh, this is all made up. And then I started researching this stuff, and then I'm like, yeah, I can see why people don't talk about this stuff. So Whitney Houston died in 2012. 4 years after that, in 2016, Bobby Brown released a memoir called Every Little Step, My Story. In it, he told the world about his marriage, his addiction to weed as a young man, how Whitney Houston was like, hey, here's some cocaine. All this juicy info that people who are into celebrity gossip swallowed up. They loved it, right? However, they mentioned one story in there about a ghost in his house, in his mansion, that made people a little bit nervous, like a little like, So here's what happened. Around the time he got married, Bobby Brown bought a Tudor mansion in Atlanta from Mike Thevis, which is this guy who was a pornographer who made a big fortune with peep shows.
Oh my God. Wow, this is like all setting up. I love these modern tales of succubi and incubi. I love it.
Before home video, where you could go buy videos and play them at home, they had these things called peep shows. And I won't go into detail in these because this is not an erotica podcast, but basically they would.
But if we tap into that market,
I know, right?
Should we pivot and just do erotica now?
Scary mystery surprise.
We don't even have to change the name.
So I won't say he's not a good man. Let's just say he was a risky. If you're around him, you might be connected one layer away from crime.
I like that phrase, risky character.
How close do you want to get, So anyway, Bobby Brown had the house, and one night he was attacked, saying that he sensed a lot of evil stuff that had gone down in that house while Mike Thevis lived there. This came directly from an interview with Us Weekly. Quote, one memorable night, one of the ghosts descended from the ceiling and had sex with me. After you stop laughing, I need you to hear what I'm saying because I'm not making this up. And let me add this. This was before I ever touched any drug besides alcohol and weed. At that time, I normally slept naked in a big round bed with a high mirrored ceiling. That night, I came awake to the sensation of a woman resting on top of me.
See? Praising Lilith. There you go. All in the name of mommy.
So he goes into more detail into it. I didn't write this down because I didn't want to, we don't want to turn this podcast into something else. But basically, he was excited and terrified at the same time. That's what he said. And then his new family moved in, right? That's when he gets married. Their baby daughter, Bobby Christian, his wife, Whitney Houston, they move in. And I don't follow a lot of celebrity life stuff, but a lot of people that listen do. So you'd probably know a lot more about this. But the marriage was not good. There were fights, domestic violence, abuse, and finally, suicide that destroyed the family. By the way, the author of this book that I mentioned in the beginning was like doing kind of an analysis after every story. So like this thing is a succubus demon attack with the sex demons that lived in the mansion because of its previous owner, the king of porn, never left. But what started as a simple succubus demon attack turned into a spirit wife, aka a demon that hates your wife and goes to radical actions to get rid of them.
Oh, okay, that's a twist.
And just like that, there are some other pretty insane celebrity stories. So that's the one from like the Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Stuff, right? There's one like Coco Austin, aka Coco T, Ice-T's wife.
Ah, I love Coco.
In 2012, she went on the show Naughty But Nice with Naughty But Nice Bob. And when they talked about ghosts, she was like, yeah, I had a perverted ghost at one time. And then the host was like, okay, sure.
What?
But then she explains it and she defends it. She's like, in broad daylight, she was watching TV and suddenly she felt her dress move up her leg. She pushed it down, kept watching TV, and then she felt it again. And then felt a guy breathing in her ear.
Oh, I hate that.
Have you ever felt that?
No. not from a sex demon, no. No, not at all.
It's strange because when they start talking about, like in the book, when they're analyzing this type of story, they say that this is a husband demon.
Oh.
Coco's experiences stopped because she had gotten married. And they say that marriage sometimes stops or prevents this demon from coming around, which the author kind of says that because of this, the demon was not a very powerful demon because he went away when she got married.
That happened in my research too, is that they're not very powerful in their physical form or whatever. Like if you did a ritual to get rid of them, they're not very hard to get rid of, but they'll probably come back.
They're just like, okay, bye.
Yeah, they'll like leave for the night, but then they probably will be back. But they're kind of weak on the spectrum of demonic forces. That's just what I read on the internet, guys.
This is not official.
It is not official demonology. Please don't come at us about it.
You know, they say that getting married is one of the solutions to attacks of an incubus demon, which, by the way, not marrying the incubus, but more like marrying your actual significant other, while also, asterisk here, maintaining a sin-free life, aka no cheating, basically. And if that marriage works out like that, then the incubus leaves. But supposedly if the marriage is not good, they'll hang out for a while. But then this gets debunked because of the story of the Fry family. They're from Wales. In July 2013, things started moving around the house, just out of nowhere. And they also started fighting in the house, like the whole family. They would argue and didn't actually tell anybody for a year that these things were going on. Like things are moving around, they would hear noises. But once the thing started attacking their children, they started looking for help. The thing is that it was attacking Tracy Fry, the mom. At night, she would wake up covered in bruises. And when a spiritual expert came to the house, he was like, yep, this entity is doing things to the wife every night. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Not good.
The woman didn't understand it. She would just wake up like in pain and like, she didn't know. She was sleeping through it. And her husband was right next to her, which is...
A skeptic would be like, well, your husband's... It's not a demon. Your husband is like a creep.
I think the most proof I got out of all this stuff was that he said, I would not beat my wife. Like that's what he said in a quote to the newspaper.
Okay.
So this spiritualist went into the house. And when he went up to the floor where all this stuff happens, he was like, everyone, stay out. I can feel the evilness. Eventually, the ghost hunter said he was able to get rid of 2 small demons. And I couldn't find any more info on how they're doing today. I was really searching. So if anyone else out there knows, I want to know. But anyway, how about actually marrying a demon?
I mean, look, I don't want to kink shame. I said that earlier.
But is marriage a kink?
I mean, who you're marrying? Like, if people get married to like toasters. That's
Yeah, I saw that.
like, come on.
Anyway, so this happened in 2019. This is a story that you sent me. There is this person, Amanda Teagu, I think, Teagu, of Downpatrick, Northern Ireland. She was kind of in love with this pirate, Captain Jack Sparrow, a real pirate that was executed in the 1700s.
Wait, a real pirate named Jack Sparrow?
Yep, that's what it said, yeah.
But that's Johnny Depp's character in...
Yeah, I know. And he's not based on something? I just kind of took it word for word.
Hold on. Let's look. Oh, we got to Google this because
Yeah.
Is there a real Captain Jack Sparrow? Because that just seems crazy.
Jack Ward was, it says right here, Jack Ward was an inspiration.
Okay.
She loved him so much that she wanted to turn into him and paid money to be able to look like him and like go to all these spiritual people that would do rituals.
This is, I think, different than the story I sent you. I mean, she's in her wedding dress in the story I sent you. Is that?
Oh, yeah, that comes after. Yeah.
Oh,
Like when
okay.
she actually gets married. Like, I think it's
okay.
the same woman. I hope it is. Because I even found that she was hired by the movie Pirates because she was good at it. Like, she actually got paid because she was just so into the thing. Anyway, she wanted to connect with this pirate so bad that she started doing all these rituals and attempts to get him to come to her. And eventually, Captain arrived. Do-do-do-do-do. Meow. Wah, wah.
Bow, bow, bow. Chicka, chicka, wow, wow.
So in 2016, she did another ritual, and this one was for marriage. She then said that she had officially married Captain Jack Sparrow, and of course, she took his name, Amanda Sparrow. However, their marriage only lasted 3 years. She said that after getting married, she started having health problems, suffering from cirrhosis and all this other stuff. Months later, she started getting worse and began to realize that some of the symptoms of possession include bad health.
Yeah.
At first, she thought that the captain, Jack Sparrow, was a kind and loving spirit. But then her dog, Toby, died.
Ugh.
And that's when she realized something was wrong.
Red flags everywhere on this guy.
Yeah. Oh, and she misses those red flags. Like, she said that Toby wouldn't go to Jack and that the dog, Toby, was very aggressive toward him. Eventually, she sent Toby to her mother's house because he didn't want to be near Jack. So that was another red flag. Also, I think the dog may have died because she sent him away. And dogs, but
They're very sensitive. They're very sensitive creatures.
she also started noticing abscesses whenever she was intimate with Jack.
Oh.
When she stopped doing it with him, her health improved.
Oh. It was causing open sores?
I guess. I didn't want to look
That's
up
an
what these
abscess.
abscesses
No,
were.
yeah, abscess. I mean, he was probably giving her syphilis from ancient pirate times.
Ancient STDs.
Yeah, ancient syphilis.
So supposedly she learns her lesson and then unlearns it because then she says that at one point her friend got married to her own spiritual partner. So they come in groups. Like she had a friend who was also into some other spirit. And because they got married, that kind of lit up the passion between Amanda and the ghost husband. So they did it again. They got it on. And then bam, she had abscesses all over again. So then she got really concerned. She almost died, actually. She was in the hospital for a week. And yeah, she had to undergo surgery and stuff. And before surgery, you have to take off your rings, right? Like your rings. And she took the wedding ring off. Yes, she had a wedding ring. And supposedly, symbolically, that must have cut ties because her spiritual team could not communicate with her properly with her while she had it on. Because supposedly Jack had been stealing all of her energy. But now when she took it off, hey, now I can again communicate with, my spirit team. By the way, spirit team, I don't even know.
Like her spirit guides? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that or like she had friends that were like spiritual.
That's interesting. I assumed it was guides, but yeah, then I was like, is it literally a spirit team of like...
I don't know. You just don't know anymore. Like here you're
you
just
really
like...
don't. Like you just don't.
The doctor said that she might need a colostomy bag But she instead went to get the help of an old friend who had told her not to marry that spirit to begin with. And after, she was like, oh, you're right. Okay, you're right.
Like, she probably didn't even talk to that friend for 3 years.
Yeah, that sucks. That happened. I actually don't talk to my married friends. I don't know why. It's just...
Well, no. I mean, if your married friend's like, hey, don't marry that person.
Oh, because they hate your partner?
Yeah.
Or like because they were opposed to it? Oh, yeah. No, they probably weren't even invited to the wedding.
Yeah.
But anyway, eventually she was like, you know what? I'm going to confront my spirit husband. And then everything went down. Like, here's where Amanda was like, hey, Captain. I don't know if she called him Captain. That's just assume.
I hope she did.
Cool.
Hey,
Captain, like, I'm going to leave you, right? Basically. And he got all weird. And he was like, no, you're not. And then threatened to kill her.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That's intense. But she was like, no, I need to do an exorcism. And he's like, no, if you do that, I'm going to kill you. But then in December 2019, she underwent an exorcism and her health got better. So she saved herself from using a colostomy bag, which is amazing. So that's the end of her story. It's just, like, imagine just interviewing her. Like, it must be hard because you need to get into her world, accept it, and then ask the questions because otherwise it doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, and also she was still like mistreated, you have to get into her world and go there in order to find empathy for it.
Yeah, it's weird. And I was searching for like, what else about this woman? And it gets weirder. Like, it's just more like, her friends are very spiritual and they tell her what to do. And her friend that also got married to a spirit, like, it makes you question, like, what else is out there? Like, what else can people be into, besides all this stuff? And some Reddit posts ended up popping up during my searches, and I found this one. A lot of these were very graphic, so I don't want to... If you want to do your research to, like, find them, anybody who's listening here, you're welcome to, but they're very non-consensual things, and people are actually, they're victims of this.
It's like
online.
It's like a traumatic experience.
Yeah, traumatic. Yeah. There was this one, though, that really stood out because it's different. And it says, it kind of comes naturally when you have the libido of an incubus yourself. I have 3 to 4 succubi around, depending on who I reach out to, and I enjoy their company daily. I don't like to share the experiences I have with them because people tend to objectify them as tools to be used for their own needs and desires, only to discard them once they're satisfied. Succubi don't appreciate that, not one bit. If you're not just looking to use them for a quick fling and have specific questions, let me know. And this came from Reddit user Robert812003.
Robert. What are you doing? How dare you?
Robert has his own laptop, guys. I see it in the camera all the time.
He's always on the computer gossiping about me and commenting. He's a big commenter on our Apple podcasts.
Yeah, it's a bizarre world out there, but love is love. You get to do your own thing. Go for it. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yeah, everybody do their own thing. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. If you want to summon a demon, you can. If you want to divorce a demon, you can. Know there's support out there. There's support if you need to escape a sex demon. Or if you want to be friends with one. Or special friends.
Special friends, yeah. Just watch out for STDs, because those demon STDs,
I mean, just abscesses all over your skin. That's pretty terrifying. That's a pretty terrifying STD, honestly.
Yeah, just heads up for that. Use protection.
Like sage? What kind of
Sage?
protection? Yeah, like what are you talking about? Like
a cross over your thing.
Your peepees? You mean the technical term of peepee?
Your peepees.
Yeah, your peepees. Yeah. Anyway, I guess what are we going to talk about next week, Edwin?
I don't know. I think it'll be a surprise.
Scary Mystery Surprise is hosted by Michelle Newman and
Edwin Covarrubias. This podcast was edited and sound designed by Sarah Vorhees Wendel of VW Sound.